Salut, je m'appelle Sela Vi et je vous présente comment s'emploie l'imparfait. How is the imparfait used? How is the imperfect tense used in French? Just like with English, the imparfait is used with the past. But when you look at the comparison with English, you see that in English, there are many ways to put the imperfect into sentences. Let's look at all these different ways. We often went to the beach. We used to go to the beach. When I was a child, we would often go to the beach. We went to the beach every summer. We were going to the beach when, you see, there's a lot of complexity here. There are many different ways to put this. But now let's take a look at the French, see how simple it is. When you look at the imparfait in French, there's only one form, which makes it really easy and convenient to use. Let's read these. Nous allions souvent à la plage. Nous allions à la plage. Lorsque j'étais enfant, nous allions souvent à la plage. Nous allions à la plage tous les étés. Nous allions à la plage quand... If you want to see what these mean, just click back to the previous slide and you can compare them to their English form. Nous allions à la plage. Voici une image de ma famille à la plage. Vous voyez mon père, papa, qui reste en dessous d'un parasol. Et puis, vous voyez aussi ma maman. Maman se trouve dans la mer parce qu'elle aime trop les vagues. Et puis, vous me voyez, je cours avec un petit seau. You see me running with a little bucket. Parce que j'aime faire des petits châteaux de sable. I like to make sand castles. Well, Papa is staying under the parasol, the umbrella, because look how light his skin is. And he's afraid of the sun's rays. Maman, she likes being out in the sea because it's so refreshing, and she likes those waves. If you look at me, you'll see that actually I'm quite fast, because I've almost become a blur. Nous allions à la plage. Compare these two timelines of the imparfait. The top one shows an orange dot to the right. That's where we are now. And as you move to the left, you go further and further into the past. Look at the red squiggly line that crosses over that orange line a few times. You see that on either end there's a little arrow, and that shows you that you don't really know when that squiggly line begins or ends because the arrow shows that it continues. Well, in the same way, the imparfait is used for situations which you don't really have a definite ending time or a definite beginning time, perhaps. It's kind of a vague and unspecified amount of time in the past. If you look at the bottom timeline, you have that same orange dot to the right, showing where we are now. And as you move to the left, you go further and further into the past. Those three dots that are on the line that are connected by a line that has an arrow at either end, those dots show that something happened over and over in the past. So something that was repetitive and happened many times. These are two ways that the imparfait is used. Now, to form the imparfait is quite simple. You select the nous form of a present indicative verb. So you're going to take the form that goes with nous. You take off that ons ending, and you're going to add the endings that go with the imparfait. And I've marked them for you in blue. Let's take the verb travailler, which means to work. When you take the nous form of travailler, you get nous travaillons. Of course, remove the ons and add the imperfect endings. Je travaillais. I used to work, or I was working. Tu travaillais. Elle travaillait. Il travaillait. On travaillait. Nous travaillions. Vous travailliez. Il travaillait. Elle travaillait. Take a look now at étudier and notice something really interesting when we get to the form that goes with nous. First, look at the present indicative form that goes with the pronoun nous. Nous étudions. Of course, remove the ons ending and add the imperfect endings. And listen to this. J'étudiais. I used to study, or I was studying. Tu étudiais. On étudiait. Il étudiait. Elle étudiait. Nous étudions. Vous étudiez. Elles étudiaient. Ils étudiaient. Note on the form nous étudions that you're going to double the I, and that makes complete sense because you've taken off the ons ending from nous étudions and you've added EONS for the new form in the imperfect. Now let's look at the verb faire. If you take the present indicative form, you have nous faisons, remove the ons, and to form the imperfect, you simply add the imperfect endings. Listen to these. Je faisais, tu faisais, il faisait, on faisait, elle faisait. Nous faisions, vous faisiez, il faisait, elle faisait. The most important exception when forming the imparfait in French is with the verb être. You see, because in the present indicative, there is no form that goes with nous that ends with ons. Because the present indicative form that goes with nous is nous sommes. So French has a special form of this particular verb in the imparfait to which you add the endings. Listen to them. J'étais, tu étais, il était, elle était, on était, nous étions, vous étiez, ils étaient, elles étaient. This is really important because the verb être is used a lot in the imparfait because it would come out as being, for example, j'étais would mean I was. And that is going to be a very common form when you're speaking French. Here's another exception. It's not as big a deal as the verb être, but nonetheless you have this GER ending. Look at these verbs, manger, nager, voyager, partager, and they all have in common the fact that they end with a GER. Well, what's happening here is that French is going to insert the letter E right after G in order to keep the sound of the G sounding the way it does. So, écoutez. Je mangeais, tu mangeais, elle mangeait, on mangeait, il mangeait. Nous mangions, vous mangiez, elle mangeait, il mangeait. Like verbs that end with ger, the verbs that end with cer in the infinitive have a specific exception in the imparfait. These would be verbs like commencer, divorcer, and annoncer, amongst others. Now what it is you have to have that cécédille in there to keep the soft sound of the C. Remember when we learned how to conjugate commencer in the present indicative? It was, for the new form, you had nous commençons, and you had to put cécédille. Well, the same sort of thing happens here. Écoutez. Je commençais, tu commençais, on commençait, il commençait, elle commençait, nous commencions, vous commenciez, il commençait, elle commençait. And though we're back at the verb for to start or to begin, all things must come to an end. À bientôt. C'est la vie 2020.